Good evening, everyone out there in YouTube land. My name is Jared, and this is my channel, Mazda B3K. In a special episode that I actually get to do in air conditioning, we're going to try to change out a bike tire on my wife's bike. We're going to convert it from tubeless to tubed. It kind of gave up the ghost, and I need it running so that we can go bike riding Saturday. Without further ado, let's get started. Oh, one other thing. I'm not a bike guy, so if I get terms wrong or my procedure is radically incompetent, just let me know in the comments. That's my son back there. So I aired up this tire. This is a tubeless, like city road tire. I aired it up the other day to within spec, max PSI 75. I aired it up to 60 and it started making expensive noises and then went bang and it gave out. And I tried to reseat the bead, ratchet strap, whole 9 yards. Didn't work, so I'm going to go ahead and try to take this off and convert it to a tubed tire, because that is what the kit I bought has. So first thing I'm going to try here is, I know this should come off pretty easy because I already know we're off bead. So I got a trim tool here, and I'm just going to try to get this top bead over the rim, right? Oh my, yeah, that gave up. These tires are 10 years old, so I'm pretty sure that's the reason why she gave up the ghost on me. Now that we got that done, I think in theory, yeah, this should just come off. All right. Oh, I was wrong. This was a tubed tire, not tubeless. So probably what happened is the tube gave up. Okay. I learned something today. It's had a tube. Oh yeah. This was never gonna reinflate.
Oh dang.
Yeah, she's done. She gave up. Sticking a fork in her. All right. Well, that's good to know. I thought I was dealing with a tubeless tire, but no, it was tube, so I'll be doing a like-for-like replacement. So let's go ahead and grab the new tube and new tire and work on reinstallation. Okay, so as I mentioned before, I'm not a bike guy. I've tubed a couple tires before, but I don't have the technique. Basically, there's two schools of thought on this. You can try to get your tube situated first, which you notice I've already sunk the Schrader into the hole in the rim to kind of hold the tube in position, and then you just try to shove the tire on around it. Or the other way is you take your tube, put it in the tire, and then try to shove the whole thing in there that way. I'm going to try it this way first. I may switch to the other way. One thing to note, which I totally should have taken a picture of this first, but these tires here, these are, where's the name here? These are Finchy, I think is how you pronounce it. And they are one-way tires. So they're one-way radials, which means they have to be installed in the correct direction for rolling. There is going to be an arrow that marks rotation here, as you can see. Make sure that you have that pointing the right way when you put your tire on. From what I understand, if you install this backwards, you get a short life out of it, and it'll fail on you, from what I understand. Okay, so I re-verified that once this is all hooked up, it's going to sit like this, right? The cassette goes on the right side of the bike, which means that our direction of rotation for forward is going to be like this, which means that when we I'll spin this around so my camera person can see it, but this is the direction of rotation we want for this tire. With the cassette on the right side, rotation will be clockwise. Just got to keep that in mind as we try. Okay, that broke. All right, that's what happens when the bike's 10 years old. All right, let's see if we can't start shoving this in. I mean, this is going to be kind of just slip it on in, and I will provide, this will be like a time lapse, and I'll provide input if there's something actually worthy to say. Yeah, this is going to get tricky. Okay. So we've got the tube in, and I've got to get this one of these beads in. Put it back on pretty similar to the way that we took it off. Which means we got to get one of the beads seated behind the rim. So what I'm doing right now is trying to get the bead, which is the edge of the side of the tire, to sit inside the rim, right? We don't necessarily need it to be airtight because we're using a tube, but we do need it to be sitting appropriately, and then hopefully I can just air up the tube slowly, and the tube will be sitting more or less correctly, so that we'll be good to go. Now the trick of this is once you get down to that last little bit, it's going to really want to fight you. So you may have to get your tools back out. See, because we've been sitting pretty up to about here, and now it's kind of like, oh, you want to get me in? All right then. You want to fight? Oh yeah, she wants to fight. Where did I put my... There it is. So can I? Yes, I can. Trim tool for the win. Oh yes, trim tool. Who'd have thunk trim tool would have been such a handy tool. You do need to make sure, and hopefully I have not done it, that when you're doing this, that whatever you shove in isn't crazy sharp, so you don't accidentally pop your tube, which you just put in. Okay, so in theory at this point, our new tire is seated. It is in the direction of rotation. And what we need to do is air it up. So I'm going to go get my bicycle pump, and we're going to air this up first to a low PSI to kind of let everything seat and sort itself out. And then we'll see if we can't get it up to, about 50, 60 pounds, which I think is where this tire is supposed to be. Let's see what she does there. All right, so we are going to bring it up to 25 initially. This thing's good for 50 to 60, no problem, but like I said, I want to make sure things are kind of getting seated and nothing is pinched, hopefully. So we're at 25 PSI presently. And things are looking optimistic, because one thing you can do is, Galen, if you can run the camera along the tire rim here, is look along your rim and see if you see anywhere where it looks like the sidewall is not even. Meaning, like in some spots you see a little bit of sidewall sticking up and other spots you don't. What you should see is there's going to be like a little line that should seat right up against your rim. And that's what you're kind of looking for to make sure that you've gotten everything seated evenly when you put this on. And this is good rules of thumb just for tubing a tire in general, not just doing bike things. All right, let's bring it up to, I don't know, maybe 40. See what we do. Please don't explode on me. I already had one explosion. That wasn't very fun. Made my ears ring for 20 minutes. Okay, we're getting there. All right, so that's, I think this is in 5, so that's 35. That's about 40 PSI. So we're going to aim for 60 total. And now we're up around 40. I'm going to stop again and let it kind of sit. Yeah, this feels really good, and it's looking really good. So I'm pretty pleased so far. Please ignore how nasty that cassette is. Like I said, I'm not a bike guy, and this bike has been sitting for a very long time. And I'll be honest, I'll just throw a little grease on that and call it a day. We don't ride very often. Once a week, basically. I got to replace that reflector. That's, well, that is sad. Anyway, if you're wondering where I'm getting my pressure numbers from, Galen, if you can, I'll spin this around for you, but if you can look right here, you can see generally the tire is going to tell you what the pressure range is for the tire. In this case, also would be the tube in the tire. So 50 is your bare minimum, and I'm going to aim for 60 because that's within the butter zone. It's not at the ragged edge. And again, for what we do, it's perfectly fine. So, all right, we're going to go for it. We're going to bring her up to 60. All right. So, what I'm doing is I got a little red needle that gives you the target when you go to air up the tire. So that's about 50. And getting there. That is 60. So I'm going to go ahead, close that off. Let go. Let go, Mago. Ah. Get my cap. That's it. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how you change out a tube and a tire on pretty much any adult sized bike. I mean, this is nice in that it had the detachable rear wheel, right? Not a big deal. But once you get the wheel out, the process here is going to be pretty much the same across any bike you work with. All right, folks, that's going to do it. Ran into some issues with the brakes that I had to fix off camera because that was a lot of trial and error, and I probably fixed it in a very redneck way, and I don't want that to be my legacy for brake adjustments on a bike. But one other thing I noticed, if you've got the rotation direction correct, basically the tread will lead the way. The way that kind of arrow is pointing is the way the tire needs to be rotating. So we got the back, we got the front. Front didn't really matter because you can insert it whichever way you want to make sure it's right. But we got it. They're both aired up to 60 psi. So the last things that I'm going to need to work on, still don't know why this is being so caterwampus here. Maybe somebody in the comments can tell me how I make this not be caterwampus, because it's really enjoying that. I need it straight. But anyway, that is how you change out a tube and a tire on pretty much any adult-sized bike.